What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ, Bucky, and our buddy Baldy here. Baldy, we got some games we want to jam through, so we'll jump right to it. So why don't we start first off? Let's go first game where you were at. Let's jump into that Buffalo game.
It was a Josh Allen show. Nobody played well against Miami the week before. They have major issues defending the run. You saw Sean Tucker and Rachaad White have a pretty good day, but Josh Allen was on his game. He accounted for 6 touchdowns. He ran for 3. They couldn't stop him in the run game. He threw for 3. He got the ball to his backs. Ty Johnson is a really valuable third down guy, receiving guy. Like, I was actually talking. It's interesting. I'm curious what both of you think. In this new formation we see around the league where the running back is spread wide, but he's in the running. He's in the backfield. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to Levante about it. Like, what are they doing? What all they're trying to do is just get that guy in space quicker, and he's got a variety of ways that he can go. And they got Ty Johnson, on a zone pressure from Todd Bowles, and he got him against, Anthony Nelson on the outside. I mean, Josh saw it right away and put it right on him. Buffalo looked like they could get back into this AFC East race. They still play the New England again at their place. Like, the way that they played offensively, even with Keon Coleman down and Dalton Kincaid down, I mean, it didn't make a difference. Josh was just that good yesterday.
Yeah, to me, this was Josh Allen going back into superhero mode. And he's done a really good job the last couple of regular seasons of picking and choosing when he kind of gets into that, hey, I'll take over the game. I'll do everything on my own. He tries to save it, kind of like Mahomes saves himself for the postseason, the stretch run, and those things. But I feel like he senses that it's situation critical. I may need to do a little more. And that's what they had to do, because he had to do everything, run it, throw it, make every play. To me, this is the only way that Buffalo can win. They're not good enough, or they're not solid enough in all the areas to be able to dominate a team. So they need number 17 to put its cape on each and every week to find a way to get them to the winner's circle.
It's down the field before the game. And, in Buffalo, one flag is going this way. The other flag is going this way. It's just gusty, right? And, I'm watching Josh throw the ball. And I'm like, yeah, you're not going to have any problem, like, throwing through these winds, all right, Josh? And he's like, nah. I go, tell me some of the guys you're going to throw to. He goes, we got a bunch of dudes. We'll be fine today, man. Like, honestly, like, it was just that casual. That loose, that casual, and then he just went out and did it, in a kind of a shootout game. It was really good to the very end. I mean, Baker was competitive as hell. It was really a good quarterback duel. Going back to that 2018 draft, DJ, that was pretty fun watching those guys go at it like that.
Yeah, no question. And I'm thinking about Josh, and I was, a bigger picture discussion. We can do it on another day, but I don't know that I've seen one flawless team or one team that I'm looking at and saying, okay, that's the team to beat. But I also look at Josh, and I kind of just get reminded of, like, when you play pickup hoops, and then, like, the one elite player walks in the gym, and you're like, okay, normally you divvy up teams like this guy. You're like, no, you're by yourself. So we're going to put the next 5 best players over here. You're going to get 4 whatevers, and you probably have still have a good chance of running the court. But he's throwing to guys. I'm like, frick, I don't even know. I mean, I do this for a living and follow the draft. And I'm like, who the heck is that? Going through some of these names. But I do want to hit on a positive thing for Tampa. You mentioned Sean Tucker. Going back to his time, went back through his scouting report and everything, and just seeing him get an opportunity because of some of the injuries they've had there. He goes 19 of Bucco, 6, 2 touchdowns, explosive, hit him on some counters. But Baldy's got me thinking differently now when I'm watching these backs and I'm watching teams that run the ball well, is he's always trying to find out who the caddy is. And you can go to all their big runs, and Tristan Wirfs is the main man on every single one of them. I don't know that maybe it's because of the position. I feel like Penei Sewell gets so much national love. We talk about him all the time. Maybe because there's some splashy blocks out in space, but I don't know anybody's better than Tristan Wirfs.
That tackle pull with that 40-something yard run for. I mean, he's 45 yards down the field. Just
cruise control.
Ahead of Sean. He's running step for step with Sean Tucker.
Yeah, he's a freak, man. He is a great player. But again, Buck, we always talk about how certain GMs, we used to talk about it with Pittsburgh forever, that, that receivers, they could find receivers under a flat rock. Like Jason Light, got to start looking at him saying, man, the guy with running backs, man, he's been able to find these guys any and everywhere.
He certainly has. And being able to have successful ground attacks is really a big part of what they're going to need to make the run that they want to make. As good as Baker has been, and when they get all the weapons back and they can throw it all over the yard, we know this game is about control, and they need to be able to control it by running the football and kind of milking the clock and doing those things to protect the defense and those things. But Baldy's right. You guys are right about Tristan Wirfs and their ability to do it up front, to think about someone who can go from right tackle to left tackle to dominate equally at both positions. He doesn't get enough credit for how special he is.
No question. Baldy, we were talking on the phone earlier this morning about this one. It was, interesting game to watch. I'll put it that way. Detroit and Philly. What do you think?
Well, I was stuck in the airport last night, so I watched it in the airport. And then I watched it early this morning. I gotten some text from Lane Johnson. He doesn't have good news about his foot. But anyways, they physically nobody does that to Detroit. Nobody does that to a Dan Campbell team. I mean, they were 0 for 5 on fourth downs. You watch the fourth down tape. Yep. Like, it didn't matter if it was 4th and 1 or 4th and 4. Like, they bully you up front. And this edition of – they made 2 changes in the last 2 games now. Nakobe Dean is starting linebacker and Jalen Phillips at the left outside linebacker. And both those guys have made immediate dividends. I mean, return on investment. And then Jalen Carter is healthy now. Jordan Davis has been playing well all year. Nolan Smith is in a good role. Like, that defense.
Ajomo's turned into a really good player.
I mean, he just took, Rutledge, just swatted him and let Jalen Carter finish it. But I mean, they just maul you right now. Like, yes, Jahmyr Gibbs had some plays in the screen game, and he made some plays, and Jameson Williams made 1 play. But other than that, they didn't give you anything, nothing all night. And on the other side of the ball, I mean, it's just unwatchable, their offense. But at the same time, they don't turn the ball over. And, they'll win these games 10-7, 16-9. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, that's how they're going to win these games.
Yeah, buddy, I came away watching it. That defensively, they're good enough to go the distance with the defense just kind of carrying the water. If they don't turn the ball over on offense, it's going to be hard for teams to beat them. You talked about the additions, Jalen Phillips being in the lineup, Nakobe Dean being at linebacker. The thing about it was Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the inside. I think both of them, they combined for maybe 5 batted passes at the line of scrimmage.
They did.
And how DJ, as a quarterback, how frustrating that is. Every time you get the ball out, it's back in your face, it's down. So then you're changing your arm angle, you're quickening, your delivery, everything is out of sorts. And for the first time in a long time, I saw Jared Goff just completely uncomfortable, just out of sorts, not having a clear answer for what the Eagles are doing. And then you're looking at what they're doing in the back, and you're like, man, this isn't complex. They're not doing anything elaborate. It's just, man, this team just brought some kick butt, and they just put it on them.
I always love trying to put phrases together on stuff that you watch, Buck. I've been doing that forever. We always have fun with it. But I was looking at this Philly front, and I'm thinking that this is the phrase I came up with. I'm like, they got firm and fastballs, man. They got guys like Ajomo and BG, Brandon Graham, firm.
Yep.
And then next thing you look up, and there's fastballs coming at you, whether it's Nolan Smith, Jalen Phillips, who's loosened up now on that wide 9, and he's got a runway, and now he can turn speed to power, but that's a fastball. Then you look inside, you get another one. Dude, you talk about quickness and explosiveness. Jalen Carter, his ability, his lateral ability, it's like he teleports from one gap to another gap with what he does. And then you got Jordan Davis, who's maybe more on the firm side. But it's like everybody that they have, Baldy, you're either going to get a firm hands to your chest, or you don't know where the guy went. He's already passed you.
Well, Philadelphians don't like this, but they're the Broad Street bullies, man. I mean, I know it's reserved for hockey, but they're just the Broad Street bullies right now. And that's what they're doing. They did it to Green Bay on Monday. They did it to Green Bay and Detroit, the NFC North, right? The 2 leaders in the NFC North in a 6-day span. And they just bullied them up front. And when Nakobe comes on a blitz, like, I don't know. I think Josh Jacobs and David Montgomery are about as good as he gets when it comes to blitz pickup. And he just splattered both those guys. And they led to huge plays in both games here over the 6 days.
Yeah, I watched that. You mentioned the fourth down. 0 for 5 on fourth down for Detroit. 3 for 13 on third downs. So just going through that. And it's Phillips. It's him collapsing the pocket multiple times. It's Carter winning with quickness. And I mentioned Graham and Ajomo just stacking blocks. You mentioned the Nakobe Dean blitz. Even on one that they converted, it was a 3rd and shortish, and they end up hitting a big play. But you're watching it, and 90 and 98 are 30 yards down the field. chasing it down. I'm like, that speaks to the culture that they have there on that defense, man. And
not just that, DJ, but what they've done now with Nolan Smith coming back and Jalen, coming into
they still got Jalen Hunt still coming.
I mean, they've got depth up there right now, and so they're just going to, and they're building this thing for a deep run in January. So they're going to try and keep those guys as fresh as they can right now along that defensive line without, and trading those guys out without losing a lot up front when some guy goes out of the lineup.
Yeah, I'm big on it, man. I think that the best defenses in the league, one of the things that they have in common is they've got two waves of guys up front, and they can play fast, and they can not have to worry about having to conserve any energy. But anyways, big win for Philly. They're rolling offensively ugly, no question. Detroit, it just didn't play well. Goff didn't play well. It is what it is. Buck, Seattle and the Rams, a game we've been looking forward to for a long time. It delivered.
Yeah, it absolutely delivered. I think what's interesting about this game, the Rams referencing their experience going against Sam Darnold last year in Minnesota, even though it's not the same scheme and those things, but they gained a lot of confidence out of knowing they faced him at the end of the year. And they did a really good job of just destroying his rhythm, his timing, and maybe even a little bit of his confidence. They were all over the place. And the one thing that I know about the Rams, having watched them personally donkey kick the Jaguars over in London, defensively, when they are going with Jared Verse and all those young guys heating them up, man, they can come at you in waves. They're a very physical team. And I'm going to say this, whatever they do with the reclamation projects in the back end, Emmanuel Forbes playing well for them. Darius Williams playing well for them after I watched them struggle in Jacksonville. Maybe it's Aubrey Pleasant or whatever, but they find a way to get all these guys on the same page, and the rush matches the coverage, and is a very, very difficult defense to have to contend with over 60 minutes.
Cam Kitchens and Cam Curl, Lake, I mean, they play their safeties, but, the first interception Sam threw was a classic one rat out of a disguised cover two, and Curl's going to the middle of the field, and Kitchens he's just in there being a rat, he jumped right in front of it, of a Smith and Jigba throw, and I don't think Sam ever saw him. He picked it off clean. And then he was in a, deep half, just playing cover two, reading 2-1. And again, they went to Aurora in the middle of the field, and he just jumped right in front of that throw. And then even on the Darius Williams interception, he came on a blitz and hit Sam Darnold. And as he threw it, you could, he's just like this.
Doesn't get to follow through.
Just didn't come out. I mean, he made three big plays. I want to say this, DJ, this Nate Landman is one hell of a football player. Like, I know machine. He was in Atlanta. He wasn't even drafted, was he?
I don't believe so. I'll have to pull that one up.
That guy's everywhere. Like he does everything. He's just one of those players. He does everything fundamentally sound. And you just watch him. He's all over the field. He leads the team in tackles by a mile. And he was all over the field again on Sunday. But despite the turnovers by the Rams, Seattle's still there at the end. Like the defense just rescued them time after time again, and held them to 3 touchdowns, a lot of short fields. But that rematch on December 18th is going to be, that's primetime viewing right there.
All right, Baldy, you want some Nate Landman scouting notes?
Give me some Nate.
All right, Nate Landman.
Wasn't he born like in South Africa or something?
Yeah, I don't have the personal stuff. So he was at Colorado. So he was 6'0", 238. He ran 4.86. So there's your reason why he wasn't drafted. 4.86. He missed 5 games that year with a shoulder injury, but still had 6 TFLs, 4 PBUs. He's a Mike. He directs traffic. He's got. This is my comment. I said he's got quick eyes and slow feet. He's a catch tackler. But to me, you got somebody who's, you can see the through line here, right? Directs traffic, communicator, instincts. He just didn't run. But when you take 2 steps in the right direction before everybody else on the field, it does eliminate some of that need. And they've done that, man. You look at what they've done with the reclamation project with Emmanuel Forbes, who was a really good college football player who was just light and was missing tackles in Washington. Like, they find the good. Like, that's the whole point of scouting. Buck and I mean, when you're in the room, that's what you talk about. Hey, you keep telling me what he can't do. What can this guy do? And that's a great example of this kid.
But I tell you, he's got 4 forced fumbles. He had another one. They didn't recover, but he had another one on Sunday. But even in Atlanta, his 2 years in Atlanta, he had 3 forced fumbles in each year. He's got 10 forced. He fills up the stat sheet, the guy. you know? And so like, he's exactly what they need, because that front is really, really talented, and they got a lot of, so he just cleans up. He's just a vacuum cleaner in there, cleaning up these tackles right now.
Yeah, Gavin filled it in there, Buck. Zimbabwe. Dad played rugby. So
yeah, rugby. That was him.
Yeah, I mean, look, a great background. But DJ, we talked about it, Baldy, culturally. It's the expectations that you put on the young players or the players that come in the building. We're going to coach everybody. And if you don't make it here, you're going to make it somewhere. I just believe there's certain organizations that really pour into the development process when it comes to young players. And those guys benefit as a result. And the team benefits from being able to play all those young guys at one time.
Yeah, just from Les Snead's draft philosophy here, DJ, you're talking about resources in the defense. They've drafted 2 defensive linemen in each of the last 3 drafts, and they're all on the field, you know. And so you see Stewart out there now, but Byron Young and Kobe Turner and like the whole group, obviously Fisk and Verse, but they've drafted 2 in each draft, and they're all on the field. And so they've just rebuilt that whole front. You know, I mean, there's Aaron Donald, retiring his jersey at Pitt on Saturday, and I'm like, here they are. Like, there's no Aaron Donald, but they're really good as a group right now.
Yeah, they went from that's the sign of a smart GM too, is that they've changed the makeup of the team in terms of the complexion of it, where there was the whole screw them picks, stars, right? Stars, and maybe not the depth, but you had
Ramsey
you had those pillars, right? It was like Mount Rushmore of those, four guys. And now you look up and it's like, okay, we did that. Now we still got Stafford, which is a huge piece of it, and we've still got a couple other guys. Puka has developed into that, but it's just, we're going to overwhelm you with depth. It's 2 different ways to get into the finish line, but that shows you the adaptability there, which I think is a great sign, Buck, of a personnel department knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think adaptability is everything. I think like certain years require you to be like really, really heavy when we talk about the draft develop process. Other time periods require you to be aggressive when it comes to free agents and trading and those things. And DJ, as our generation takes over these jobs with decision makers and those things, you are seeing people take more aggressive approaches when it comes to rebuilding the franchise, doing it a few different ways. And the Rams have kind of been on the forefront of that movement. When Les talked about F those picks, everyone laughed, but he was right because it paid off for them. But then they come right back. And the reason why they're able to blow off those early picks, because they did such a great job drafting late day 2 throughout day 3, being able to get players that they turn into to viable starters and those things.
Yeah. The other thing is, by the way, the Rams, they're going to end up with a top 10 pick, man. They've got Atlanta's first round pick next year. Penix is out for the year. They are struggling. And you watch, Les can do what he wants with it. He could take somebody there, or he could. Yeah. Everybody's telling everybody in the scouting community, Baldy, we are all looking towards 27. Like this 26 draft, cute little draft. 27 could be an all-timer. Watch, Les is going to spin that thing and just start collecting and just have a massive haul for the lottery there in 2027. See if he can't get a shot at Jeremiah Smith and company. All right, Baldy, this was a big one in the AFC West, man. Denver, they pick up the win 22-19, late last-minute drive, which I'll get to in a minute. But just your takeaways on maybe the biggest win Denver's had in quite some time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought just watching one of my favorite players in this league is Jaquan McMillan. And while Denver has had a lot of named guys from Surtain to, Benito. I mean, a lot of named players in that defense. Hufanga has been playing great. But, I mean, Jaquan made some of the biggest plays. I mean, he got the interception on a scramble drill where Mahomes has Mitchell for a touchdown. They're going to take the lead in the third quarter. He intercepts it. He sacks Mahomes, towards the end of the game when it's 19-19. It's tied. It's Mahomes' time. He comes off the edge, corner cat, like a bat out of hell. And so, the defense rose up. And Bo Nix can struggle for a long stretch of a lot of games, but he seems to be clutch when they need him to be clutch, and he was again on Sunday.
Here's the thing about Bo Nix. Bo Nix has 5 game-winning drives, fourth quarter comebacks this season. And everyone will give the Broncos a tough time about their offense and it being pedestrian, not explosive, and those things. And some of that is obviously true. But I also think that Sean Payton leans into the dominance of his defense, and he understands how to win games. And this was a game where I felt like the Broncos didn't play well, but they were always in it, and they knew they could steal it at the end. And then you look up, and Bo Nix makes a couple of throws. They kind of get down to it. They hit the game winner, and they go, and they vanquish the evil empire. Like they kind of drove a stake through the heart of the Kansas City Chiefs. And so give the Broncos credit. It has not been ugly. I mean, it's not been pretty at all. But, man, they just keep stacking wins. And you look up, they're right where they need to be when we talk about in contention for the number 1 overall seed.
I went through that game-winning drive, and something that I've always been a firm believer in, and it drives me insane, is that, we always just talk about hey, first downs, not touchdowns. Like, that's the key to the 2-minute drill. Like, we're just worried about, let's get the first down, and then we go. But the first play that they ran was a bubble. And it was like, okay, we're just going to see, as Bucky always said, we don't see the ball go through the hoop, man. Let's just get a little completion. We're going to get what we can get. But now it's just, there's a feeling as a quarterback, okay, we got something going. Even if you're 2nd and 8, it's just different than you throw incomplete and you're like, oh crap, it's all on it's 2nd and 10 now. Now we're kind of grinding. But I think even just the simplicity of that shows Sean Payton kind of has an overall awareness. And that's why you don't do this by accident when you have this many come from behind wins.
It's not an accident. He knows how to set plays up and wait for certain situations, when to call things. He knows the flow of the game and where you're going to need to be. And I think he just saves certain plays for situations like that. And Bo Nix, I'm sure Sean isn't the nicest guy to be around on Wednesdays and Thursdays out there, but I'm sure that Bo just has that thick skin too when he's making sure that he understands things. I know, just talking to guys that have coached with Sean, like, he is maniacal about red zone offense. One of the reasons why Russell was gone, like, they just didn't understand just how on you have to be in that part of the field. And that's, that keeps him up late at night. But I thought he saved some good plays at the end.
Yeah, he saved some good plays, but not only that, man, just his understanding. You talk about how experience matters. Experience and the expertise of clock management and game management. That's where the veteran coaches can kind of steal things from others. And obviously Andy Reid's on the other side, but Sean Payton's keen understanding of what we need to do today to win the game comes out in his play calling and the way that he runs the entire operation.
Other thing I'll add on, these late drives to win games, and we've seen it with Caleb Williams, who we'll get to in a little bit, who he has 5 of these things as well. Think about Mahomes and his late game magic he's had for his entire career. There's always one play in that drive where your legs come into it, whether or not you're going to scramble and pick up the first down. This case, it was 3rd and 15, and he's able to buy some time and able to get a nice conversion down the field. And then you have your opportunity where Baldy's referencing, I love the phrase, Ben Johnson used this in their game last week where he talks about hunting coverages. Like, I've got play calls where I'm hunting a certain coverage, and if we get the coverage we want, that's the play. It's going to work. So they run a switch release, and he hits a 7 route to Franklin to put them in field goal position to win the game. But it was give you a completion early. Hey, you're going to need to use your legs at some point in time to help us convert. And then hopefully eventually we're going to hunt a coverage. We're going to get the right look from the defense. We're going to be able to cash in with the big chunk play that we need. But that seems to be the formula. And they've got it. And Baldy, we don't need to belabor it, but Kansas City's 500 right now. They got the Colts next week, man. Like, they are in some real trouble here.
Well, they're 3.5 games behind Denver. I'm going to be in Kansas City Sunday. The Colts had a bye week, so they're going to be rested and fresh. They're playing without DeForest Buckner, which is a big loss defensively, but their season's on the line, because you're going to see other teams emerge in the AFC right now that are going to be, I think Denver's going to win the division right now for the first time in whatever it is, since Elway was probably there, or Peyton Manning, I guess. It's been a long time, but they're in the driver's seat right now and in good shape, with one up on Kansas City like that. One real quick thing is, like, I remember at the trade deadline 2 weeks ago, everybody was like, Denver should go get a receiver. I'm like, oh, maybe they should. But at the same time, you look at Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin, and all these guys that they've drafted, like, they're all, I know Cortland Sutton is their go-to guy, but all these guys have stepped up, at certain times, and they've got like a different role for all of them, a defined role.
Yeah, they spread the ball around, man. It's working. Whatever they're doing is working. Buck, Baltimore, Cleveland. Baltimore gets the win 23-16.
Yeah, really interesting in watching this game, man. For most of the game, the Cleveland Browns were in control of this game. They were able to get it done with their defense kind of leading the way, getting pick sixes. Devin Bush takes a pick six back. They're knocking them around. And then, Dylan Gabriel gets hurt. Shedeur Sanders comes in, and he's not able to move the offense. And that just gave the Ravens enough time to kind of work their way back into the mix. Not a pretty performance, but I would say the thing that stood out to me was the tush push play, the trick where they spin up on there. Mark Andrews comes out the back door. Great play. We've seen other teams use different things, and it's the always and never. So often in football, we talk about, hey, they always do this, they never do that. And in breaking the tendency, they found a way to get a game-winning touchdown because they did something that wasn't on the play card for the Browns.
That's great point, Bucky, because they have run that play on their tush push with Mark Andrews a number of times over the last 2 years. And to be able to pull that one out like that, and I'm sure Cleveland was not expecting that. So they broke that tendency really good. But, I guess if you're in that building, DJ, a month ago when you're 1-5 and you're in the crypt and you're thinking, how the hell are we going to get out of this? And Pittsburgh is rolling at that time. And if you just defensively, like they got Roquan back and they got healthier and Kyle Hamilton is just everywhere. And like they got their guys back on the field. Like that defense has been carrying them, going back to the Chicago win when Nate Wiggins intercepted a ball on Caleb at the end of the game when it was tied. The defense is making these plays right now to keep them going because the offense still doesn't look great. It doesn't look playoff ready yet, but they've got time right now. I mean, they've got 2 games in Pittsburgh coming up, and it's going to decide the division.
Yeah, I think the schedule set up for them. I'm going back through it here. So when they're sitting at 1-5, after that they had Chicago, which was going to be tough for them, and the score looks lopsided because of that late interception.
Right.
That was a very close game, which they got. And once they got that first game, okay, Miami 28-6. You get Minnesota, who was not in a good spot, 27-19. They win this game against Cleveland. They've got the Jets. They've got the Bengals. They've got Pittsburgh and the Bengals again. I mean, the next time they're going to play a team that you could say is really rolling is going to be New England, and who knows what they are at that point in time. But that's not till December 21st. Yeah. So really from, after losing on October 12th, the schedule was their friend there. And I think that's got to give you a little confidence. Once they got that first one, they just need to get that Chicago game, and then the defense started playing better, and now they're set up, man. I don't know. I don't look at any of the odd stuff, but I would imagine they probably are the favorite, even though they're, trailing Pittsburgh right now. Yeah. So, I mean, that's it's all lined up for them. Buck, I do want to mention 2 things real quick. Kyle Hamilton, told Baldy about this one this morning. That was fun to watch. 9 tackles, a sack, 3 TFLs. There's one. He comes downhill and stones Bitonio, knocks him back 3 yards and make a play. Then you'll see him out in space, avoid a block and make a tackle. You'll see him rush over the center. They line him up over the center, and he just wins immediately and ends up spinning off and getting a sack. Then he's backside on a runaway, and they don't account for him. He closes the back door and makes a tackle. Like, guy's everywhere, man. He does so many different things.
Bucky, let me ask you this, because how do you design the defense with a guy that is that versatile? Is it just complete freedom within the scheme to line up on the center and do this, or he'll be in the A gap, and next thing you know, he's in deep center field, and like just the way that they use him is just, there's really, maybe Imamwari with Mike McDonald over time can get like that, but there's really the most unique defensive player in this league right now.
No, I've never really seen anything like it. You talk about that hybrid position, what you can do, and being able to bounce around. I think it takes a player who has a unique skill set. It takes a player who also has a high IQ to do all the different things they're asking them to do. And then there has to be the want to desire. Like, I want to be special. And what special players do is they do these other things to elevate the play of their teammates. And his ability to go to that spot, and right after that spot, you saw the defense quickly repair itself. And that's what they've been able to do. And it also takes a village and a supporting cast. You talk about the trade that they get the free safety coming over. You think about the other guys, Malachi Stark's been able to play his role in the back end, and all the pieces of the puzzle coming together. But yeah, man, you talk about a difference maker, a game changer. That's Hamilton.
Well, I mean, I see a very similar thing with Derwin. When Derwin's rolling and locked in, Derwin draws a lot of attention. Now, the difference is Derwin's got some good players around him. He didn't have Roquan Smith. Like, there's other guys that you got to really, really account for there in that front. But man, Kyle Hamilton, special player. And then lastly on that game, and then we'll keep it moving. I mean, just because people are going to ask, Shedeur gets in 4 of 16, 47 yards, 3 carries, 16 yards. Going through it, they start out nice, get him a little half roll, got him a completion, a little sit route, gets completion. And then you have the poor decision, and an inaccurate ball gets picked. Another one that Kyle Hamilton should have picked when he's trying to throw across his body. Just trying to do too much. The thing that I like the most about it, and obviously the numbers are the numbers, but man, he played aggressive. My thing is sometimes you get young guys in there, they just want to dink and dunk the ball down. Like he was trying to be aggressive and push the ball down the field, which is definitely something you could work with. Baldy, my dad used to always say, I'd rather rein in a thoroughbred than have to kick a donkey in the butt. Like that's a good thing to have there. Somebody that wants to be aggressive versus trying to teach them to be aggressive. And then the other thing I wrote down is Buck, he's just going to have to learn to play without time and space, because when there's time and space, he's a really pure thrower. He can really spin it. He does a lot of good things, but as he learned at Colorado, time and space can be in short supply. And the difference is, that's similar to Colorado. The difference is in you don't have Travis Hunter still creating 6 yards of separation, even though you're in a condensed pocket. He's in condensed pockets and doesn't have that separation. That's going to be an adjustment for him.
Yeah, it's a huge adjustment. And I think everyone is right about in terms of what they saw, like some good, some bad things, some things that he can iron out and work on. It'd be interesting if he gets a start next week and he begins to take all of the first team reps and gets all of that stuff. And he plays within a game plan that is built specifically for him, as opposed to running the Dylan Gabriel offense. All those things are there. And then I would say to him, like so many of these other young guys that we're seeing around the league, whether it's Abdul Carter or Keon Coleman and those things, it's not the same, but it is. Man, you got to be ready when your chance comes. No matter what they say, no matter how few reps you get, when your numbers call, it's on you as a professional to be ready. And so he has to be ready when he gets that opportunity, because sometimes that opportunity doesn't come back around. And so you got to be able to take advantage of it when you get your shot.
DJ, just from a quarterback standpoint, he never threw to a tight end at Colorado. Mm-hmm. The two best receivers are tight ends in Cleveland. Like, is that, and he's not getting any reps, but I mean, the use of the tight end, he hit the tight end on the crossing route, and, that was a good throw. But I'm just curious, is that like any kind of an adjustment, or is that just something that everybody adjusts to?
I'd have to pull up the numbers of the tape in front of me. I remember in the preseason, I remember him hitting Njoku, if I'm not mistaken. I remember him hitting some tight ends and making some plays. I think that'll be fine. I think he's going to learn. He's got to, I talked about being aggressive. He's going to have to hunt some easier completions, and those are going to come with your tight ends and your backs, which is what this offense really is. They don't have real dudes out there, big-time dudes. So, he's smart. He's someone, I think, that the difference between him and Gabriel is, I think Gabriel coming into this process played so much ball that, but his ceiling, not because I'm not his height, but like his ceiling was just much lower, and he might already be closer to that, to maximizing that. Whereas with Shedeur, even though the numbers are the numbers, you could see like there's a couple real close where they just didn't quite bring it in down the field, but like he could play at a higher level. If he gets to everything that he has, he just can push the ball, and he's just a little bit more dynamic of a thrower than Gabriel is, Buck. Yeah,
and the thing that he has to do, though, is he has to get used to the boring work. So when you talk about the checkdowns, the underneath things, whatever, like we've seen it, Drew Brees did this for years. Check down, underneath, and as soon as you deviated and came out the coverage, he punished you with a ball down the seam. Shedeur and a lot of young quarterbacks, they have to understand that patience, that discipline when you ran from the pocket. You got to take the underneath stuff until the bigger stuff opens up naturally. Maybe he'll have an opportunity to do it. Maybe he will buy into that. But yeah, what we saw is the good and bad, as Shedeur saying, it's all in one.
Yeah, and by the way, congratulations! You're going to get your opportunity as the weather's getting ready to turn. Oh boy, man, Cleveland. There's I'm having worked there. It gets later in the year. Not an easy place to throw the football. Baldy, Chicago, Minnesota. Chicago, another comeback win. Mentioned it earlier. That's 5 for Caleb now to match Bo Nix. 19-17. They get out of Minnesota with a big win.
Well, they did, and I haven't really studied it yet, but I just know that Caleb, did not turn the ball over again. And just watching him over the last few weeks of this win streak that they're on, like he's definitely throwing the ball on timing much better than at any point last year. But his athletic ability continues to show up. Like they're running the ball really well, but he's a big part of the runs, whether it's third down scrambles or a couple designed runs. Like he's so talented to be able to stay on his feet. He is a hard guy to get to the ground. And I think the line is really coming on, and the way that they use their tight ends, the way that they're setting up their blocks right now. DeAndre got back into the fold, and Monangai has been really, really good for him. And then Caleb, like they've got three guys that really kind of spearhead the run game. And I think that's where it starts with Ben Johnson. It did when he was in Detroit. And you could see the creativity is there in the offense, but at the same time, the basics of what they want to do and how they want to control the line of scrimmage is very real. And then just defensively, like Kevin Byard has always taken the ball away in this business. Like he's got 35 or 36 career interceptions. He did the same thing at Middle Tennessee State. But I thought he was on his way out of the league. He was bounced around to a couple teams. He was in Philly. He wasn't very good. Like he's gotten to Chicago, and he's got himself a home there right now. And he's making a difference on the back end of that defense.
Yeah, what's interesting, because you talk about Chicago, so much of our time we spend on Ben Johnson, but Dennis Allen's done a really good job of cleaning up some of the issues that they've had defensively. Whether you talk about Byard and those guys, they're keeping the ball in front, not letting the deep ball go over the top of the defense, not letting it go outside. And when you take that and you take what Ben Johnson is doing offensively, exotic smash mouth is what I want to call it. They want to do the bells and whistles and have all the pizzazz, but at the end of the day, they want to be a physical team. And so they're beginning to believe that formula, that recipe that works for everybody, run it, play good defense, score when you can, kick field goals, do all those things, you can win a lot of games. And as this team gains more confidence in their leader, they can be a very, very dangerous team down the stretch.
I think Chicago leads the league in takeaways. I think they're at 22 right now.
Yes.
Like you take the ball away 22 times in 10 games, whatever it is right now. Like that's a pretty good pace. You're winning the turnover battle most weeks if you're at 22 takeaways.
Yeah, I think when you look at the interception leaders, they got like 3 of the top 4, something like that in the league in terms of picks. Offensively, one of the things I wanted to look at here, because I was just curious, I don't know that there's a better 1-2 punch at tight end than they have right now with Kmet and Loveland. And I just want to see usage-wise, like how they differentiate from each other. And really, Kmet's just like been the safety valve. He's just going to be there waiting for Caleb in the flat. You want an easy completion, he's there for you. He's going to be where he needs to be. He gives you a nice big target, presents himself well. And then Loveland gives you a little more sizzle, a little more pop to be able to get down the field, get down the seams. And the other thing is, and this is not just with him, and I know I believe that they worked on this. I heard that they'd worked on this in the bye. And it's shown up the last couple of weeks. They're getting better in the scramble drill. And if you haven't played with a quarterback who can stay alive as long as Caleb has, you're not going to understand, the ins and outs of that. That's not an easy thing, Buck. You've played the position, so I know you can speak to this. But being able to stay alive, being able to give him something when he's creating time. Loveland's a real athletic, and he's able to, on those broken plays, separate, get where he needs to be, present himself well. And gives him some big plays. But I love that 1-2 punch, and I think this team is figuring out how to play with Caleb week by week.
Yeah, now here's the thing. When I was going all the way back to Green Bay, when Brett Favre was in the middle of his 3 MVP run, we would have scramble drill periods where everything was intentional. He's going to scramble, and you would give the wide receivers rules. If you're coming across the field, you work across to get into a sideline. If you're doing something coming back to the quarterback, you automatically turn up. And every week, once or twice a week, you worked on those things. So it's not by design. It's an organized chaos that leads. And when you think about the big plays that show up, those second reaction plays, the defender just gets lost in the sauce.
Well, it's what Kansas City's been doing since Mahomes came into the league.
Yeah. If you're coordinated in the scramble drill, you talk about the explosive plays that you can generate, you're beginning to see that with the Chicago Bears.
Baldy, we had another Move the Sticks Bowl. I mean, Bucky has been kicking my tail. I mean, App State beat North Carolina once. Chargers, I think, maybe have gotten Jacksonville once. I don't know. They have to go back and look at it.
No, I think the Jags are undefeated against them somehow.
Yeah. So he's owned me with the Jags Chargers thing with our little side gigs. And Carolina has been kicking our tail. I mean, and this one was a beatdown, 35-6, man.
Yeah. They've been the spoiler a couple of times, over the last decade. I guess you got to still celebrate those big wins that they've had.
Yeah. Buck, I mean, this was 47 runs for 192 yards. Herbert, threw for 81 yards and a pick. I'll talk on the Chargers side real quick, and I'll get you the Jag side. But Charger wise, they're going to have to figure some out. They're going to the bye. They looked a little tired. They looked a little lethargic. And I'm not making any excuses for them, but just I watched that tape right after I watched the Philly tape, and you watched the Philly bigs and how they were chasing and running. Now, the time of possession was hugely in their favor for the Jags. So I think that group got a little bit tired for the Chargers. But they were matching with two bigs to a team that really wanted to run the ball. So you got two bigs and two stand-up edge guys. And one of the bigs at times was a Boygby, who's not the biggest guy in the world. I just didn't think they had enough beef out there and got kind of pushed around and moved around a little bit. And then some misalignment stuff against some 3 tight ends. Look, Liam Cohen got them last year with Tampa and ran the ball down their throats and did it again this time with Jacksonville. So, that was that side of the ball. And then on the other side of the ball, offensively, 2 of the first 3 pass attempts, Herbert just smokes quick screens out to wide receivers like they did against Pittsburgh the week before and never went back to it. So you're either, as the Chargers, you're going to force the opposing corners to tackle your receivers quickly in space, or you're going to try and play from the pocket and you're going to ask your offensive tackles, who are not your starters, to block edge rushers. Like, that's their options. And I don't know that was the right choice in that game.
Yeah, no, what was interesting in this game, DJ, coming on the heels of this, and I got to give you reference. So when the Jags blow the lead 29-10 last week against the Houston Texans, Liam Cohen and the staff, they go into the locker room and they talked about, hey, man, we got to own this. You have to own it. There's no running from it. You have to own it. You got to figure out how to learn the lesson to apply it. And I feel like for every coach, there's always a crossroads where you have to make a decision on whether you're going to double down on your philosophy or you're going to change. And this was the game that was a crossroads game where Liam Cohen had talked about being a physical football team, a running football team, and those things. And against the bullies that the Chargers can be when they're locked in, he doubled down and the team responded. Now, will this be a thing that launches him the rest of the way? We'll see. But to me, when I asked him about it after the game, he was like, at the end of the day, you always got to go back to who you are in these difficult moments. And that's what they leaned into. And so the big sets, the running game, the way they play defense, all of it, simplified it and just say, hey, we're going to see if we can just out-smash a team that loves to smash, and they were able to be successful on Sunday.
Well, they did it. I mean, Harbaugh said after the game, they beat us up physically, beat us up every way you can beat a team up. Now they got the bye week and they've got the Raiders before the Eagles come into town. So they got a chance to get rested up. I think Amari and Hampton, there's a decent shot. He's back, which will help that run team a little bit. All right. Hey, Baldy, you're the best, brother. We appreciate your time, man. We'll see you next week.
Okay, guys. You bet.
Well, there you go, Buck. Great to have Baldy with us on here each and every week. I don't know what happened in the rookie draft. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Gav had to step in for me. I'm hoping he had a great draft. We're going to we'll figure out how I did. I'm going to claim the victory. If we won, I'm going to claim it, even though Gavin made the picks. And if we don't, hey, Gavin he could lose that job. He could definitely lose that job as the assistant GM, as the assistant rookie GM. But I'm going to wait and see how he did first.
Yeah, hopefully it turns out better. We can shut out Rick, because right now he's having so much success. Rookie draft, Indiana's rolling.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, dude, I heard it right on the call, Big Ten Network. He had USC Iowa top 25 game doing the play-by-play last week.
How about that?
Our little Rhett's all grown up.
PBU no more.
Gavin said I need a big one from Genty, so we'll see what happens. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time right here on Move the Sticks.